There's this moment a lot of people have, usually late at night when the house is quiet, your phone screen is a little too bright, and you're just scrolling. Maybe you open your banking app even though you already know what it says. You've checked it 3 times today already. The number hasn't changed. It never does. And you're not broke, like you're surviving. Rent is paid, bills are handled, groceries are in the fridge. You're fine, technically. But there's this low-level hum of stress that never really turns off. You see a $400 unexpected expense and your stomach tightens. You get invited to a wedding and instead of being excited, your brain instantly goes, "How much is this going to cost me?" And sometimes, honestly, it's not even about the money itself. It's the mental weight of it, the constant calculations running in the background of your brain, the way every decision feels like it has a price tag attached. Even the fun ones. I used to sit in that exact headspace way more than I'd like to admit, thinking about money probably more than was healthy. Not just how to make it, but how it messes with people's emotions, their confidence, their choices, their sense of safety. I spend way too much time thinking about why some people seem relaxed around money and others feel like they're always one bad week away from panic. And what I've noticed in myself and in a lot of people I've talked to is that there's a specific number where something really weird happens. Not millionaire money, not six-figure salary money, $25,000. Not because it makes you rich, it doesn't, not even close, but because it does something to your brain. It changes how you see risk, how you see opportunity, how you see yourself, how you make decisions. And what's wild is that most people think that shift only happens at some huge, dramatic number. But for a lot of people, the real psychological turning point happens way earlier, quietly, subtly. And once it happens, you can't really unsee it. So if you've ever wondered why some people suddenly start moving differently with money, why they stop panicking over small stuff, why they seem calmer, more patient, more strategic, there's a good chance it started around a number that doesn't sound that impressive on paper. Because $25,000 doesn't just change your bank account, it changes how your mind works around money. And once that switch flips, honestly, you're not really the same after that. One of the biggest changes that happens around $25,000 is this: you stop feeling financially fragile. Before that, life feels like one long game of financial Jenga. Every bill you pull out, every unexpected expense, every slow month at work, it all feels like it could make the whole tower wobble. You're constantly bracing. You might not realize how tense you are until you're not tense anymore. It's like clenching your jaw all day and only noticing when it finally relaxes. With $25K sitting there, suddenly, a car repair isn't a crisis. It's annoying, but it's not scary. A medical bill isn't a catastrophe. It's a problem you solve, not a problem that solves you. That shift is huge, not because $25,000 was small, but because it wasn't threatening anymore. And that's the key. Before this point, money problems feel like personal failures. After this point, they start to feel like logistics. Why it matters? When you're fragile, you make decisions from fear. When you're stable, you make decisions from strategy. Actionable takeaway: your first real financial goal isn't wealth, it's resilience. Aim for a buffer that makes life's normal chaos boring instead of terrifying. When you're below that cushion, your financial brain is always in defense mode. It's like playing a game where you're just trying not to lose. You're not thinking about winning, you're thinking about survival. And survival thinking is short-term by nature. It makes you say yes to bad deals because you need cash now. It makes you avoid risks that could help you long-term because you can't afford to fail. But with $25K, something flips. That's not just money, that's psychology. You start thinking in months instead of days. You can wait for better opportunities. You can say no to stuff that doesn't align. Why it matters? Long-term thinking is how wealth actually gets built, not by panic moves. Actionable takeaway: notice whether your financial decisions are driven by urgency or by intention. If it's always urgency, your buffer is probably too small. When money is tight, it feels personal. Your bank balance feels like a scoreboard of your worth. A low number feels like a verdict on you as a person. But once you cross that psychological safety line, money becomes less emotional. It becomes more mechanical. It's not you, it's a tool. And that's a subtle but massive identity shift. People with a cushion don't internalize every fluctuation. They don't spiral when their balance goes down temporarily. They see movement,
not judgment. Why it matters? When money stops defining you emotionally, you make cleaner, smarter choices. Actionable takeaway: practice separating your self-worth from your net worth. Even mentally, it changes how you react. This one surprised me. With a safety net, you get more patient. You don't need the fastest payoff anymore. You can wait for the right job instead of the first job. You can hold out for better terms. You can invest instead of just hoard. Patience is expensive when you're broke. At 25K, patience becomes affordable. Why it matters? Patience is a hidden wealth skill. It lets you trade time for better outcomes. Actionable takeaway: ask yourself, where am I rushing because I have to, not because it's smart? This one is emotional. Before, you notice every $10, every $20, every tiny leak in your budget feels loud. After, you still care, but it's quieter. You stop micromanaging your life.
You zoom out, not because you don't respect money, but because your brain finally has space to think big instead of small. Why it matters? Zooming out is how you make strategic life moves instead of tactical survival moves. Actionable takeaway: track big patterns, not just small expenses. Look at trends, not just transactions. This is subtle but real. When you know you can handle problems, you walk differently, you negotiate differently, you speak differently. You're not desperate, and people can feel that. Confidence backed by money isn't arrogance. It's calm. Why it matters? Calm confidence attracts better opportunities. Actionable takeaway: notice how your posture, mentally and emotionally, changes when you feel financially secure. When you're broke, you hustle. When you're stable, you build systems. Saving systems, investment systems, income systems. That's a huge shift. Why it matters? Systems compound. Hustles exhaust. Actionable takeaway: ask, am I building something repeatable or just grinding for today? Here's the truth. $25,000 isn't magic. What's magic is what it represents. Time, options, breathing room, margin for error. It's the first time money stops being the loudest voice in your life. Why it matters? When money gets quieter, you get louder. Your goals, your values, your choices. Actionable takeaway: use money to buy space, not just stuff. Here's what I really want you to take away from all of this. $25,000 doesn't make you rich. It doesn't put you in some elite club. It doesn't solve all your problems, but it changes your relationship with money in a way that's hard to explain until you feel it. It turns fear into friction. It turns panic into planning. It turns survival into strategy. And maybe you're not there yet. That's okay. Most people aren't. But now you know what you're actually aiming for. Not a flashy number, not a status symbol. You're aiming for mental breathing room. Because once you get that, you don't just have more money. You have more patience, more confidence, more clarity, more control. And honestly, that's when life starts to feel a little less heavy, a little less reactive, a little more intentional. So wherever you are right now, whether you're at $500, $5,000, or $15,000, every step toward that buffer is more than just saving. It's rewiring how your brain experiences money, quietly, gradually, permanently. And once that shift happens, you don't just handle money differently, you live differently.